So I took a trip from Dallas to Honolulu, Hawaii. On the way, I had a layover in Denver and San Francisco. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to make the most of a long layover and the things that you can do inside of Denver and San Francisco. What's up, y'all? My name is Jet. On this channel, I talk about budget travel and the best way to make the most of your money when you are traveling to any place internationally or within the United States. So today I'm going to be talking about my flight from Dallas to Honolulu, Hawaii. I had a 5-hour layover in Denver, and then I had another layover in San Francisco where I had to stay the night. And the next day, I had the entire day in San Francisco before my flight left to Honolulu, Hawaii at 4 p.m. So once I got there, I got my rental car, I drove, I made a couple of stops on the way to Morrison Slide Rock Trail. One of my favorite things to do when I go to Denver, first thing I gotta do is stop at a dispensary. So I stopped at a dispensary, got what I needed. I only spent maybe $6 at the dispensary. Then I went to go hit the trail. So when you go to the trail, you're gonna park in this area. You can walk up across the street that leads to Red Rock Amphitheater. Once you walk up this trail, it takes you up into, the mountains that are in the area. And the reason why it's called Morrison Slide Trail is because the trail that you hike on, you can see the rocks that are slanted down at the Red Rock Amphitheater in the distance. So it's a great trail to go on, especially if you just have a quick layover and you want to go get a quick hike in. Obviously, you do not have to hike the whole thing. The Morrison Slide Trail is pretty long, but they do have spots within the trail where you can stop at. So I got maybe maybe a third of the way through the trail, and I decided to stop and turn around because I only had a limited amount of time, and I knew I still had to get back to the airport and have enough time to check in and be there for my flight to San Francisco. I realized that this trail is like miles and miles long. I thought there was like a point that I get to at the top, but it's not. Now, if you do anything else in Denver, there's plenty of stuff to do in Denver, especially with a 5-hour layover. But me personally, I like hiking, so Denver is one of my favorite places to go hiking at, so I'm definitely trying to hike every time I'm out there. Once I got back to the airport, returned my car, got on the plane, flew over to San Francisco. Now, when I got to San Francisco, I ended up staying the night in San Francisco because my next flight did not leave until the next morning. So I got to San Francisco, I stayed in a hotel. The hotel I stayed in was $60 a night, which is a great deal. It wasn't that bad of a hotel. When I got to San Francisco, it was my first time being in San Francisco. So I had never been there before, and I wanted to go see, the typical touristy San Francisco things like the Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz, Chinatown, things like that. I ended up getting an Uber from my hotel to Golden Gate Bridge. This Uber maybe cost me about $25. Now, obviously, you can get over there much cheaper if you decide to take public transportation, but I figured I wasn't going to be there for that long. I wasn't spending that much money already. Decided to get Uber for $25. I took an Uber over to an area called Marshall's Beach. I'm going to try to go down to like that area over there and see if I can get some shots. I'm walking all the way down this hole. Go all the way down. We still got a minute to go. It looked like the tide is high though. I was trying to go like right down there, but I don't know. This is where I ended up coming to get some great shots. So you can see right here, I'm standing on the rocks, away from everybody. The waves are crashing over here. You can see the Golden Gate Bridge. You can see boats passing by. So it is a beautiful spot to go to, especially if you want to get a little privacy away from all the touristy areas of the Golden Gate Bridge. You can definitely go to Marshall's Beach, get some great views, get some great long time. Definitely a great spot to go get photos from a different angle of the Golden Gate Bridge if you have already been there. Since I was so close to the Golden Gate Bridge, I just decided to walk back up and walk over to Golden Gate Bridge Park. They have like a little touristy information center, and then they also have great views in different places that you can go get views of the Golden Gate Bridge. So like I said, if you've never been to San Francisco, seeing the Golden Gate Bridge is one of those things that's like it's a real touristy thing to do, but it's incredible if you've never seen it before. Especially my first time seeing it, I was really amazed. It's a really good view. It's a really good area to just go sit and relax at if you just want to have something to do that doesn't cost much. Definitely a cool spot. Definitely recommend going to see Golden Gate Bridge. So one of the main things in San Francisco is Chinatown. Chinatown is, I believe this Chinatown in San Francisco is one of the oldest within the United States. And there's also a very large Chinatown. So I rode over to Chinatown. I walked around for a good hour just looking at everything. I've never been to a Chinatown like that before. I've been to Chinatown in New York, but it is definitely not the same because New York is a different vibe than San Francisco. I ended up going in and sitting down at a restaurant by myself to go eat. The food was pretty good. I didn't finish all of it because I gave such a large portion, and I was not able to eat all of it. Maybe it cost me like, I don't know, maybe like $8 or $9 for my meal. And like I said, it was a big portion. I didn't finish all of it, but it was really, really good. And I'm glad I found that spot and ate there. After I left Chinatown, I caught an Uber back to the airport. That Uber cost me around like $20. Once I got to the airport, like I said, got on my flight, flew over to Honolulu. So I believe that this is one of the great ways to make the most of layovers. I know sometimes you have layovers and it's not ideal for your flights, but if you do have layovers, it's best to make the most out of it and explore the city that you have a layover in if you have enough time to do that. Even if you don't have the opportunity to go all over the city and do everything that you want to do, find some things within that city that are unique to the city and that will be interesting to you that you could do. Like I said, I try to travel with a budget conscious mindset. So a lot of the things I like to go do and see, especially since I'm a photographer, end up being free things. So me going out to these places, this is what I enjoy doing. This is how I enjoy spending my layovers. And so I made the most out of this layover. I have another layover. I'm going back to Hawaii in a few weeks, and I have another layover inside of San Francisco. So I'm going to find some other things in San Francisco to explore that I didn't last time. Because I want to make the most of my opportunity while I'm in these cities instead of just staying in the airport like you could. So yeah, that was the way I spent my layover. Hopefully this video gave you some insight or some information on how you could spend your layover inside of these two cities. Even if you don't go to these two cities, like I said, spending your layover in a city and finding a way to explore the city within the limited amount of time that you have. Now it does take some pre-planning. Before I went there, I kind of had an idea that I wanted to go hike. I typed in Morrison Slide Trail, looked it up, and looked how long the trail was to make sure that I would have enough time to actually go through it, see everything, and be able to come back and make my next flight on time. Same thing in San Francisco. I pre-planned. I knew I was going to Golden Gate Bridge. Now, I didn't know that I was going to Chinatown, but I knew that Chinatown was in San Francisco, and I knew that that was an option. So once I finished with the Golden Gate Bridge, I knew that was one of the options, so I just went ahead and called an Uber going over there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, please subscribe. Please hit the notification bell to turn notifications on for my video. I would really appreciate your support. I do have a Discord channel that I will be creating. In that Discord channel, I will be putting up deals on flights, on stays, on rentals, on Ubers, all of that. So when that's created, hopefully you will join. Hopefully we can communicate. Please comment. I would love to engage with you guys. If you have any suggestions for my videos or things that you would like to see me talk about that are related to budget travel or budget traveling or traveling anywhere, please let me know and I'll be sure to include that in my next video. Till the next one, peace.